Hi, I'm Eliza. I've spent the last decade mapping cave systems that most people don't even know exist. It's my passion, my career, and honestly, what I'm actually good at. My husband, Marcus, used to think it was cute how excited I got about rock formations. Now he just rolls his eyes when I talk about work. Are you seriously bringing 3 backup flashlights? We're not going to be down there that long. Marcus checked his watch impatiently as I finished packing my gear. Better overprepared than dead in a cave. Besides, I'm leading this section of the expedition. Co-leading, he corrected, that familiar edge in his voice that had been getting sharper over the past year. The tension between us was worse than usual this morning. This expedition was a big deal, potentially career-defining if we found what we thought was down there. A previously undocumented crystalline formation that could change our understanding of subterranean mineral development. When we arrived at the site, Dr. Samantha Lee was already setting up equipment with her usual efficiency. Eliza, thank God you're here. The preliminary readings are even better than we hoped. Samantha gave me a quick hug, her enthusiasm contagious. Does that mean we're looking at a major discovery here? I couldn't help grinning. It means your theory was right, as usual. Some of us are getting tired of you always being right. But Samantha's smile told me she wasn't one of those people. I noticed Marcus had already wandered over to where Derek Thompson was inspecting some equipment. Derek was our financial backer. Tall, perpetually tanned, with the confident handshake of someone who's never worried about money. Your husband seems to have made quite an impression on our investor, Samantha remarked. Yeah, Marcus has always been good at working rooms. I tried to keep the bitterness out of my voice. And speaking of working it, Samantha nodded toward Jessica Wilson, Marcus's research assistant, who was hanging on his every word like he was announcing the cure for cancer instead of just discussing soil samples. Did she really need to wear makeup to a cave expedition? I muttered. You know how it is with some new researchers. They'll figure out pretty quick that cave mud doesn't care how cute you look. We spent the morning setting up our base camp near the cave entrance. Jessica somehow always ended up wherever Marcus was, laughing too loud at his jokes. So you're the famous Eliza. Marcus talks about your work all the time. Jessica's smile didn't reach her eyes. Funny, he's never mentioned you. By mid-afternoon, we were ready for our first descent. The main chamber of the cave opened up like a cathedral, stalactites hanging like ancient chandeliers. Everyone stay close and follow the marked path, I instructed the team. We've all been in caves before, Eliza, Marcus said dismissively. Not like this one. 2 hours into the exploration, I split off from the main group with Samantha to check a narrow passage I'd noticed on the map. Holy shit, Eliza, look at this! Samantha's voice echoed through the passage. I squeezed through the opening and my headlamp illuminated something that made my heart race. An entire wall of prismatic crystal formations, perfectly preserved and unlike anything I'd ever documented before. We need to get the others. This is it. This is what we came for. I rushed back toward the main chamber to share our discovery, but halfway there, Samantha got called away by one of the research assistants about some equipment malfunction. I continued alone, excited to document everything properly. That's when I spotted Marcus's research journal lying open on a rock shelf. Normally I wouldn't snoop, but a diagram caught my eye. It was identical to one I'd drawn in my private notes months ago. Flipping through the pages, my stomach dropped. What the hell? This data's been completely manipulated. The mineral composition analyses had been altered, methodically changing my findings to support Marcus's competing theory. I tucked the journal into my pack and went looking for him, finding him alone near a narrow passage. Care to explain why you're falsifying research data? And why it looks suspiciously like my work with the numbers changed? Marcus whipped around. Going through my things now? Real professional, Eliza. Professional? You're literally committing academic fraud with my research. Your research? We're married. What's yours is mine, remember? Besides, you've always been so precious about getting credit. Because it's my work, my discoveries, my career. His face hardened. A career you only have because I recommended you for the doctoral program. Don't forget who helped you get here. That was 10 years ago, and I've earned everything since then. You think you're so special with your little crystal discovery? Good luck proving it was yours? What are you talking about? Marcus glanced up at the unstable rock formation above us. You know, these caves can be dangerous. Accidents happen. Before I could process what he meant, he slammed his climbing pick into the cave wall at a precise spot. The ground shook as rocks began to fall between us. Marcus, what are you doing? He grabbed my emergency radio and backup light. Sorry, babe. Only room for one star geologist in this marriage. I dove backward as a cascade of rocks sealed the passage, trapping me in the smaller chamber. The last thing I saw was his smirk before dust filled the air and darkness closed in. I switched on my headlamp and tried to calm my breathing. My pack with the water and main supplies was on the other side with Marcus. Thankfully, I still had one of my backup flashlights in my pocket. Through a small air gap in the rockfall, I could hear voices from the main chamber. Where's Eliza? That was Samantha. She headed back to base camp. Marcus's voice was casual, concerned even. Said she wasn't feeling well. I told her we'd document everything and catch up. That doesn't sound like her at all. Derek's voice now. She's been pushing herself too hard lately. You know how she gets? Should someone check on her? Samantha again. I already asked Jessica to. Right, Jess? Of course. I'll take good care of everything. The sugary sweetness in Jessica's voice made me want to scream. I clicked through my camera, hoping to find something useful for when I got out, because I was getting out. That's when I saw them. Photos I definitely hadn't taken. Marcus and Jessica in our tent kissing. More photos. Dates going back months. This wasn't just an affair. They'd documented it on my own camera. Behind a loose rock, I found something else. An old waterproof case of Marcus's. Inside were copies of my field notes from previous expeditions, each one followed by published papers with his name as lead author. He'd been stealing my work for years. I'm going to bury you, Marcus, I whispered to myself. But first, I need to get the hell out of this cave. I studied the rock formations around me, putting my years of geological training to use. The main passage was blocked, but water always finds a path, and so would I. Think, Eliza. The limestone fault line runs east to west. I found a narrow fissure with air movement and squeezed through, documenting everything on my phone. Deliberate cave-in caused by Marcus Winters at approximately 2:30 p.m. Evidence of premeditated academic theft dating back 3 years. After an hour of crawling through passages barely wide enough for my shoulders, I reached a chamber that connected to a secondary exit. By nightfall, I'd made it back to camp, staying hidden in the tree line. The team was gathered around the fire, and Marcus was holding court. The composition is remarkable. Unlike anything previously documented, I believe we're looking at an entirely new mineral formation process. That's incredible work, Marcus, Derek said. Worth every penny of funding. When can we expect the paper? Someone asked. Jessica and I should have the preliminary findings ready for next week's conference. So fast? Samantha looked skeptical. We've been working on the theoretical model for months. This expedition just confirmed what I already suspected. I waited until Samantha left for the bathroom station, then pulled her behind the supply tent. Jesus Christ! She nearly screamed. Shh! It's me. Eliza? We thought you went back to base camp. Marcus tried to kill me. He collapsed part of the cave with me inside. I showed her the evidence on my phone. He's been stealing my research for years, and he's sleeping with Jessica. I need to show you something. Samantha led me to her tent and pulled out her laptop. Look what I found in Derek's expedition files. The screen showed newspaper clippings about Marcus's former research partner, who mysteriously quit academia after claiming he stole her work. We caught Derek alone the next morning while I stayed hidden. Hey, Derek, you've funded Marcus before, right? Samantha asked. Several times. The man's a genius at finding what others miss. Like his partner before Eliza. What was her name? Dr. Chen? Brilliant woman, shame about her breakdown. Made all sorts of accusations. What kind of accusations? That Marcus stole her research, locked her out of sites. Did you believe her? Not at the time, but there were discrepancies in some reports I overlooked. Later, we overheard Marcus and Jessica in the research tent. We need to finalize these slides for the conference, Jessica said. Should I use Eliza's photos or the ones we took after? Use hers, but remove the metadata. List me as primary investigator, you as secondary. No mention of Eliza. What if someone asks about her? We say she collected preliminary data but wasn't involved in the significant discovery. Samantha and I exchanged looks. The geology conference next week. Every major researcher will be there, she whispered. Perfect, I replied. I've got copies of all my original notes and timestamps proving I found the formation first. Plus evidence of attempted murder, Samantha added. Marcus thinks I'm either dead or stranded without communications. He won't expect me to show up with receipts. Let's give him the surprise of his life. The conference hall buzzed with anticipation as Marcus took the stage. I stood at the back entrance, heart pounding, waiting for my moment. Today I'm presenting a groundbreaking discovery of crystalline formations that redefine our understanding of subterranean mineralogy, Marcus announced, clicking to a slide of my discovery. I nodded to Samantha, who cued the audio-visual team. As Marcus continued, I walked down the center aisle. These formations indicate a previously undocumented process of, funny how you know so much about formations you never actually saw, I called out. The room went silent. Marcus froze mid-sentence, his face draining of color. Eliza? What are you doing here? Surprising, isn't it? Finding your way out of a cave after your husband tries to murder you? Gasps echoed through the audience. She's clearly unstable, Marcus said, forcing a laugh. My wife has been under tremendous stress. Play the recording, I told Samantha, who hit a button on her laptop. Marcus's voice filled the room. Sorry, babe. Only room for one-star geologist in this marriage. The sound of the cave-in followed. I have the journal where you falsified data, I continued. Photos of the cave-in you caused and evidence you've been stealing my research for years. Officer Rodriguez, whom we'd briefed earlier, stepped forward from the side door. Marcus Winters, you're under arrest for attempted murder and criminal endangerment. This is ridiculous. You can't possibly believe. We also have testimony from your previous research partner, Dr. Chen, I added. Turns out she wasn't crazy after all. Jessica jumped up from the front row. I had no idea he was doing any of this. He told me Eliza abandoned the expedition. I projected the photos from my camera onto the screen. Really? These intimate photos on my camera suggest otherwise? And here's audio of you both planning to steal credit for my discovery. Jessica's voice played next. Should I use Eliza's photos or the ones we took after? Her face crumpled as Officer Rodriguez motioned for a second officer to detain her. Derek stood up, addressing the stunned audience. As of this moment, all Thompson Foundation funding is withdrawn from Marcus Winters and his associates. We do not support academic fraud or criminal behavior. The university president approached the podium. In light of this evidence, the university is immediately revoking Dr. Winters' tenure and launching a full investigation into his published works. 3 months later, after the Academic Integrity Committee completed their investigation, I stood in the same conference hall presenting my genuine findings. Marcus was serving time for attempted murder. Jessica had been blacklisted from academic research, and their published papers had been retracted. And now, said the department chair, I'm pleased to announce that Dr. Eliza Winters, soon to be Eliza Reed again, will be leading the upcoming international expedition to explore similar formations in Southeast Asia. As applause filled the room, Samantha squeezed my arm. How does it feel? Like justice, and like the beginning of something new. My team of researchers, carefully vetted and including Dr. Chen as my co-lead, smiled from the front row. No backstabbers, no thieves, just scientists passionate about discovery. The way it should be. What would you have done if you were in Eliza's position? Would you have publicly exposed Marcus and Jessica at the conference? Or would you have confronted them privately first? Is complete professional destruction a fitting punishment for academic theft and attempted murder? Or did Eliza go too far? If you enjoyed this revenge story, Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about toxic people getting exactly what they deserve. Share your thoughts in the comments below.